Salisbury, Indiana. This is where one day we have enough money to build our own home to live our
And then there's the largest truss. I think one of the largest ones in the United States, actually. As you can see, that is way down. Wave, Lisette! And there's Lisette waving. Right there. Like, you guys don't understand how high up this is. Right here, if you can see that, that's a shadow. Wow. It's extremely far over there. I tried to bring my drone out here once, and I did get some footage, but there was no GPS, no signal. So it was impossible to get anything really good. My drone ended up almost falling out of the sky. So, yeah. You got water, and just literally pull right off of it. Here goes Lisette. Here goes Seth. Alright, back to what I was doing. Alright, here we go. Gunshots. Yep.
Oh my god, this is too funny.
I tried to tell you.
You did tell me.
Just playing. So again, right there, just so you can just walk right up to it, pull it up. See that? Just a thought. Just a thought does it. Anyway, but if you take a look around, we're not having the craziest of all days. So that's more stuff to... We got a collage of a video coming. It's gonna have a whole lot of stuff in it. Knife throwing and gun shooting and aerokinesis and more redneck stuff. Just a lot of fun stuff. Good country folks do. Actually, most country folk don't do, like aerokinesis or anything psychokinetic related. Yep. Take a look, peeps.
true stories for you guys that I can do while we're out driving around. This one goes back to early childhood. And my dad used to do business trips because he used to work at a place called Crane, Naval Weapons Support Center. He was an industrial engineer, so he was on a business trip one time. He came home, and this is a very unusual thing for him to do, at least at that time. But he came home, and it was like middle of the morning, maybe 2 or 3 in the morning. He decides to come in and give me a hug. Rare. Now, I was maybe between 5 and 7 years old. So he came in. My room was downstairs. Parents' room were upstairs, and Teresa's room was upstairs. When he comes in and hugs me, I'm hearing this loud smashing sound, which at first Dad did not hear. I say to Dad, as he's hugging me, I said, "Dad, listen." He stopped, looked at me, he's like, "What?" And I said, "I hear banging, I hear something smashing." And then Dad stopped, and then he started to listen. Finally I said, "Do you hear it?" And he said, "Yeah." And he immediately forgets about me, runs up the stairs. He opens up the slide door glass window, and then he's on the telephone, but he's screaming at the top of his lungs because a person is breaking into the house. At this particular point, he's screaming and yelling. Mom is in the bedroom, and Dad has yelled at Teresa to stay where she's at. Now again, keep in mind, he's forgot that I'm downstairs. And downstairs is the area where this guy's trying to bash in. Now, the way our house is set up is, I would have been dead in the center of the house, and we have a back area where we now have a pool room. But that area used to be separated into 2 rooms, and it was we considered it the basement area, even though it was on the same level. So that's the area, and that would have been the north side of the house that he is busting into. Now, I calmly decide to walk up the stairs. Dad is still screaming at the top of his lungs, yelling out the door while still, trying to talk to 911 at the same time. So Dad's screaming, "Get out of here, blah, 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 I'll kill you, blah, blah, blah." I just walk right behind him. I open up the drawer, the silverware drawer, and I grab a butcher knife. And I even checked the other knives to see which ones were the sharpest. So as Dad's doing that, he doesn't notice that his son is right behind him going through the cutlery. So I find the sharpest knife that I can find, and then I casually walk back down the stairs. Dad not noticing me whatsoever. So I now go into the basement area and walk into the back slowly with the knife drawn. And I can see that the guy is working his way. He's trying to kick in this door to get in to now what would be our laundry area, which would hook up into the rest of the house eventually, okay? And what I did was I sat right next to the door and I crouched down with the knife. Now I'm watching the door just smash. It's bellowing. Now what's interesting to me is I can kick in a door with one kick. One kick right underneath the doorknob, that thing is going through. So, years later when I think about how weak this dude must have been, I'm not even sure, what he was thinking, but he couldn't get this door open. And so he's smashing it, smashing it, smashing it, and I'm watching the thing bellow out like this, and I'm just crouched there waiting. Now, at a very young age, I was already honed. Very odd when you think about it, because I had no hesitation in my head. I knew exactly what I was going to do. I knew why I was going to do it. I was already thinking, protect my family. And so when that guy kicks in the door, my whole plan is just to plunge it right into his his stomach. Plunged that knife right in as hard as I could. And I was even on the other side doing this just to make sure I could get enough strength to do damage. Now, God only knows what would happen if he had gotten that door open. Maybe he kicked it open. I tried to stab. Maybe I missed him. Maybe, you know, he had a gun or something. Maybe he shoots me. Maybe he just sees that I'm a kid, smacks me, and then continues to go. I don't know. But I do know this. I would have made my move had that door gotten open. Now, door keeps smashing, and then after about 10 more times of me, him kicking while I'm crouched there, he abandons the whole situation. It all stops. Now, I can still hear my dad yelling upstairs outside. And so what I do is I walk my way back out. I go through the living room and then past my room, and I open up what would be our front door. And I walked out and I looked outside, and I saw his shadow duck around the corner, and he went around the house and he was gone. And so that was another aspect of this, was the fact that I even followed this person out just to make sure. Now what gets me is, my dad this entire time did nothing like that. Now, don't get me wrong, my dad, you know, obviously he's thinking a million different things in his head, okay? So my dad didn't confront this dude. He didn't go down there, and like I said, he probably had a million different things running through his head, like, you know, I have to protect my family. If I go down there, maybe I get hurt. You know, maybe he shoots me or something like that. But here is his between 5 to 7-year-old son that's going down there just completely fearlessly. And he didn't even notice it, okay? And the only time that he did notice it, okay, that this had happened, was when I walked back upstairs to put the knife back into the drawer. And so he looked at me, but he still didn't say much of anything. At that point, I guess, you know, he had just called the cops. The cops ended up coming out, and they were like 45 minutes late. By that point, I had gotten back to sleep. I look back on that day, like I said, there were so many variables there, so many things that could have happened. You know, things worked out to the best that they could have. The best possible option happened, which was no one got hurt. The guy left. Dad didn't have to get into a fight. I didn't have to stab someone in the gut. But if you think about what kind of a mentality, because here's the thing is, I wasn't really brought up on violent movies, especially at that time. My mom wouldn't let me watch movies, so I didn't get the idea because of media. And I didn't get the idea from reading some book or whatever. It was all pure instinct without any hesitation. And we live in a world today where that instinct has been all but eliminated. We don't live in a place anymore where people stand up for one another. There's a lot of people that will literally watch their own family get slaughtered right in front of them. They'll do nothing about it. I've seen many times on YouTube, news, etc. A person will be drowning. No one goes out there to help them. Like I said, we live in a world now where all of that has pretty much been wiped clean. There's basically the people who do and the people who don't. Doers versus non-doers. And it's that way across the spectrum now. There's no in-betweens. So folks, I guess what I'm trying to say is, there's certain instincts, I guess, that cannot be taught, but if you self-master, if you really start to work on yourself, you can build the confidence to be able to stand up to situations. And you don't want the situation to end violently ever. What you're trying to do is go for the best possible outcome, but you have to be ready for any outcome. Would you agree with that? And that's one of the things that, you know, Liset and I do a lot of. We do a lot of martial arts training. I'm teaching her more and more about self-defense, about knife fighting, even guns, because we want to be prepared for any situation that could happen. And as I stated before, I came into this world prepared. And it saddens me when I see that so many people out there these days, if something were to happen, that they wouldn't know how to defend themselves. They wouldn't know how to take care of themselves. Part of self-mastery, truly, 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 is being prepared for any situation. And we do a lot of things that help improve our hand and eye coordination. We do a lot of things that keep our body, and we're going to be doing more stuff with that stuff here very shortly, but it keeps our body in tune and ready for anything. So, guys, true story for you, really happened. And heck, maybe this will go into even some of the stuff that we've just been talking about. Because we just made some videos recently, and maybe we'll put those videos in with this video as proof. Okay. Oh, wow.
Oh, damn.
Some of those is because I was double hitting. See that?
And that one.
Yep.